I'm Stephanie Weaver and welcome to my studio. Today what we're going to talk about is the color wheel of color theory. So in a previous video I got a fabulous question from a gentleman named Brian, and in this video we're going to actually answer that. So the question was, how can I memorize the color wheel for complementary colors? Fabulous question, Brian. So that's one of the things we're going to cover. Is I'm going to give you a mnemonic device to actually memorize that. And it's super simple. You're going to love it. The other two things that we're going to cover in this video is some mobile color wheel options. So if you don't want to use a mnemonic device, there are a couple other fabulous options that I'm going to show you. Third thing that we're going to cover is a fabulous website that helps you actually put together color schemes, and so that if you're doing a painting and you kind of got a feeling in mind, you can go to this website and start plugging away to really create a color palette that meets the theme and the imagery that you want to create. So there's a lot here. Go ahead and click on the download of the free guide that includes some information about all this, and I think that's about it. Oh, one more thing. Go ahead and click on the little bell, subscribe, and all that stuff so you get notified when I come up with more tips and tricks. Also, leave a comment, because as you can see, if you have a question, I'm going to answer it, because it's just way more fun to talk with you and work with you than it is talking to myself all the time. So, yeah. Leave a comment, subscribe, all like, and all that jazz, and let's get started. Learn, paint, repeat. Okay, the number one thing that we're going to cover first is the mnemonic device to actually memorize the complementary colors. So for a mnemonic device, if you guys remember kind of back in grade school and math class when we had to memorize, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, so that we knew the proper way to do a mathematical equation if it had multiplication, division, exponential, parentheses, all that other stuff in there. So that was the mnemonic device that we memorize for please, parentheses, excuse, exponential, my, multiplication, dear, division, aunt, addition, s, subtraction. That's what I put together for the complementary colors is the mnemonic device. So if you're ready, here is the mnemonic device. All right, so here's our mnemonic device. We've got Riley for red, got for green, Pipers for purple, yellow for yellow, big for blue, and ox. So Riley's got Piper's yellow, big, ox. And here's a fun little diagram that I just kind of whipped up this morning to represent this. Riley's got Piper's yellow, big, ox. Okay, so that's a mnemonic device. So you're going to have to really kind of just remember that, and I think that one's really kind of easier to remember than purple, yellow, you know, because I always kind of get those mixed up. I always think about the orange. And depending on what color wheel you're actually looking at, like if you look at some of the ones online that were made up and not this one that I'm showing you now that I purchased on Amazon, not all the color wheels are accurate. This is the accurate one, so go with this one. All right, so kind of going with that, and we're going to segue into the next section where we're talking about mobile color wheel options. So if you want to have the color wheel with you at all times, there's a couple recommendations that I have. Number one is just take a screenshot. So this is actually an image that I have, and I put it as the wallpaper on my phone. And I have that for a very long time until I actually got a little bit memorized, or I found another picture that is kind of like better. But that's just a great way, is to have it on your phone as your desktop wallpaper. So that's number one. Number two, I want to show you these cute lapel pins that I saw on Etsy. So there's a couple of things that I really liked. Is this color wheel keychain right here, and it is accurate. That's kind of key. We want to make sure that it's accurate. But I love that color wheel keychain, and then there was this other little lapel pin right here that I thought was just adorable. And that way you can keep them with you at all time. The third option that is one that I wouldn't mind getting done, but I'm afraid of a couple things. One, afraid of needles. I just can't do needles very well. So, and the thought of like a needle going in my skin like 1,000 times is just makes me want to like hurl and pass out. So there are tattoos that I think are pretty neat, but in this case, it's not accurate. And that would be my big fear, is that, you know, you go in with the color wheel and they're going to think, oh, I know it, and then just totally botch the job. And this one is botched. So the mobile options that I would actually recommend is get like one of these cute little things like this, or just order one or have a picture on your phone. Those are awesome. The third thing that we were going to cover is a really cool tool to use to help you find the right color schemes that kind of speak to you. So this is coolers.co. Coolers.co, and there's a pro option. I could be honest, I've never used that pro option, but here if you go to tools, you can go to palette generator, explore palettes, and that one's really cool too. But like, let's say we go to palette generator. I'm just going to do a high level overview of this. Okay, while that's loading, kind of back to one of my thoughts about that tattoo. It's like that would be like probably the only tattoo I would really get, because it's functional, it makes sense, but I would be so worried that they got it wrong, because you've seen those like tattoo shows where they're having to go back and fix things. But anyway, all right, so here is coolers. So let's just kind of, you can kind of like rotate through these things, and so I'm just going to click my space bar. My space bar allows me to kind of keep clicking through till I see something. Okay, so I like this one. You know, me and pink, right? So there's pretty neat. It's got like value shades. I'm going to save that color. I can drag it, so like I can move it over here. Okay, so maybe I want to lock it. We're going to lock it. So now that one's going to be locked, and I'm going to lock this one. And then I click my space bar. These other three are going to rotate out. That's kind of pretty. I like that one. Rotate. Ooh, like that one. And as you can see, it's kind of going with the color palette that I kind of have. So the neat thing about that is then you've got these hex codes. And so I can get those hex codes and use those for my website or whatever. And then also I've got a neat color palette if I wanted to just kind of stick with these colors for maybe to create a pop art color. So that's neat. The other neat thing about, I use neat a lot, the word. So this tool, I also use fabulous a lot. Anyway, under tools, you can go to explore palettes. I like this a lot because what it does is it shows you some trending color palettes. So this is really handy. I know there's a lot of surface pattern designers out there and who create patterns and colorways and things like that. So if you're looking at trending color palettes, these might be a good thing to take a look at to try and create additional colorways. And it's just a fun way to maybe play with some different color palettes as you are practicing maybe a certain subject. So I mean, what I mean by that is, how fun would it be to do, let's say, a cat in all of these colors in one practice painting, and then do them all in these colors for another practice painting. It's just have some fun with the color palette. I think all too often we all get kind of stuck in our own color palettes, and part of the beauty of painting is and creating is experimenting, and this really sets you up to experimenting with color palette and colorways that would work well together. Just sort of a recap and some final thoughts. Number one, the Mnemonic Device. Riley got Piper's yellow big ox. So again, that's Riley got Piper's yellow big ox. And then the mobile options, you know, take a picture and put it on your screen. The other one is check out Etsy, and I'll include some links of some of these really cute little lapel pins or keychain options. And then number three is, if you so dare, I would be proud of you and like amazed at you and a little bit envious of you, because I don't have the courage to do this. A tattoo, like, I think it'd be cool, like right there, but you know, because it always be present. But don't do it for me, do that for you. And then the last one is this really cool coolers.co website where you help put together some color schemes. All right, so that's all she wrote, folks. If you like this, you found it helpful, share it, subscribe, leave a comment below if you have any other questions about color and color theory, maybe some tips, tricks that you have experienced over your years of working in color. Please let us know. I am so excited to read what you have to say. Until next time, stay safe, happy and healthy, and happy creating.